Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Skillless Podcast. My name is Josh Carrillo, and joining me as always is my wonderful co-host, Seph Luna. Seph, how are you this week?
I'm not too bad, man. Pretty excited as usually.
Me freaking too. We're about to hit that Vegas trip, and I'm super excited.
Oh, yeah. Which is a funny thing, too, because we actually almost didn't know if I was actually going to go, too, as well. So, like, today.
I know, I'm glad you're able to make... I'm glad... More so, I guess, I'm glad that Stefan was actually able to find the time to...
Go out there.
Make a way out there with Willie. I wish
Yeah.
Demetrius was still able to go, but we're still going to have a hell of a time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because you know, what's a funny thing, too, that, like, that if I wasn't even going to go out there, I was actually going to, like, invest the money that I was going to get back and everything into, like, upgrading my equipment. So I was about to actually get a new microphone if we weren't going out there and everything, too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean,
Eventually.
like, yeah, but I mean, if I have money still by after that, or if not, like, if I see something cool and everything out there, I might actually get something, too.
Well, about that, I will be making a trip to the Razor store.
That's
and,
literally, yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I know, like, cause even then, like, I remember that too. Like when you said that last time, I was like, thinking, like, ooh, we could take a trip over there, and I might actually take a see what's, might actually pique my interest there too. So, but ironically, speaking of peripherals, you know what's the one thing I saw finally over at that came into my store at Target and everything? The new Starfield stuff.
Starfield stuff.
The controller and the headset.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I saw the controller because of course I work on the line, so we get the stuff in first and everything. But I saw it poking out at the or like when the box was opened up and everything too. I saw the Starfield controller like in there. I was like, ooh, take a look.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. I looked at it and it looks so good. Like it has all.
I didn't know those were coming out early. I'm surprised that those weren't going to come out at launch with the game.
I thought so too, but like I guess like we got them in early. We're actually selling them right now. And I didn't see the headset yet, but I saw at the GameStop next to us that they actually do have the headset up on the board too.
Is it an Elite controller or is it just a normal controller?
It's just a normal controller with the like actual like if you look on the details and everything, it's basically got like button controls of like what buttons you can use on the game and everything, or like what's like for each button and everything too on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we got those in and everything, and that it looks so good. Like I was so tempting not to buy them at all, especially this early.
I want to, but I'm all the money's going towards the trip right now. Like I would absolutely, totally bite the bullet.
Right. But oh man, that was a pretty cool one. But do you have anything that you had going on from the last time we were talking last week?
Yeah, since we've been on the topic of like games, like the Summer Games Festival, Xbox Showcase, this week we had the Nintendo Direct.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh boy, golly, am I fucking excited for what they announced.
I bet you and like a lot of people have been excited for like what they announced and everything too as well.
They're like the first part of it, obviously, it was stuff that was already announced. They went over like for the Phantom Thieves, Persona 5, Tactica, Sonic.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they're bringing the Arkham Knights trilogy to the Switch running natively, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting, just especially the fact that like, because weren't they on the old gens and everything, or at least the last gen?
They were on Xbox 360.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Because
they were a little dated, my dude.
Yeah. It's funny thing too, because I still have the perception that like the Xbox One and Xbox Series are like still part of one whole generation. So because it seems like so like familiar and almost kind of like the way it looks and everything, that kind of for some reason like seems together. That's why I think that like I kept thinking that the 360 era, PS3 era was like before, but it's not. So it's
oh no, man, that's 10. That's literally over 10 years ago. Like that.
Yeah, it's kind of making me old at this point, man.
You and I both. They were also bringing the Metal Gear like Solid Master Collection coming out, which is super sick. They redid Pikmin 1 and 2 completely from the ground up that you can buy today, by the way.
Oh shit, are you serious?
Yeah, they fully remastered Pikmin 1 and 2 and just dropped it, and you can get physical editions later in the year. They showed some Pikmin 4 information. Like, there was so much good stuff, and I haven't even got to the good stuff that I'm excited for.
I know, right? Like, that's just the beginner topic right there, if anything. Like, the appetizers.
The main ones that I was stoked for were Detective Pikachu 2, which by the way, is fully fucking voice acted.
Yeah.
Which I think is incredible, which they should fucking do in more Pokemon games, goddammit, because
You know
they
how many dialogue they had to
fucking
record
need
for all
to.
that?
It's horse shit. If I can have any other AAA fucking title fully voiced, I can have goddamn Pokemon.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, also you would, if they do that, you would think they would also do that for Legend of Zelda too as well.
You would. I mean, Link doesn't ever talk though. That's the problem.
Dude, I mean,
he's a handful of hyas and everything else.
Yeah, right. Other than breaking pots and stuff.
They also announced Super Mario RPG Remake. Dude,
Right?
RPG was one of my favorite games of all time, and I am so excited that they're redoing that from the ground up. Like
That's really cool.
That was a curveball out of left field. They showed
Right?
the trailer for the DLC for Pokemon.
Oh yeah, the newest. That was the first thing they showed.
Looks fucking good. And Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I'll admit, my initial reaction was like, but the
Yeah.
more I watch that trailer, the more I'm excited. The art style looks really, really cool. I think it's good that we have another 2D Mario game instead of a 3D one. Like, oh
Right?
man, so good.
Also, don't
So
forget
good.
too about the. Oh my fucking god! I was. Son of a bitch. Other than that, other than that, like you also forgot too that there's a new Peach game that's gonna be coming out as well.
Oh right, they're also bringing Luigi's Dark Moon on top of
Yeah.
that. There's a new Peach game coming out. Like they
And the
they
fact
fucking went swinging, man.
Yeah, and they also announced the next Mario Kart thing too as well. The boosted pack.
That fucking bathroom map actually looks so cool. I am
Right?
so fucking excited for that.
I bet you they got the inspiration from the was it that VR or not VR, the AR Mario Kart thing that they tried releasing like was it a year
Oh,
or two ago?
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Mario Kart Live is what it's called.
Yeah, that thing. Which freaking like people still play that at all, if anything?
I don't know cuz that it was a cool premise at the time.
Yeah.
The issue I had with it was $100 for one cart.
Yeah.
Meaning that you were just playing with NPCs by yourself and you had to spend another hundo to get another fucking cart.
Yeah, and plus also the fact too that like there was only 2 races too as well.
There's
At
just
the
Mario and
time.
Luigi.
Yeah, basically.
It's like I don't think it's worth the cost. I think because the game itself is actually free on the Switch. You can just download it.
So basically you're just buying the hardware.
You're just paying for the cardboard of the checkpoints.
Yeah.
And the card itself, which I don't think was worth, but it was a cool idea.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea, but man, that's really pricey for just the cart and cardboard.
Expensive. Fucking expensive, dude. But I was super stoked for this direct this time. Like it tickled the Pokemon nerves. I didn't get what I wanted, which of course is so Brooklyn wanted something specific, and I didn't even know it was a thing until I looked it up. And I wanted something specific, which was I wanted the fucking Pokemon, like red, green, blue, ruby, sapphire, and emerald to drop on the Game Boy Advance emulator that's on Nintendo. But I'm assuming that'll come out in a Pokemon Direct. I also don't know if we're getting a Gen 5 remake this year since they announced Detective Pikachu 2.
Oh yeah, because it's technically.
Because normally it's a full release and then a remake and then a full release and then a remake every subsequent year.
Yeah.
But now if we're getting Detective Pikachu, I don't know if we're actually getting a Pokemon Direct anytime soon for new remakes. Which I mean I'm okay with, but I love Gen 5. It's like so aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually the peak time when the DS or the 3DS was coming out, but more people owned a Nintendo DS, so they actually just went back to make them for the DS specifically because they were supposed to be 3DS titles.
Oh, okay. Huh, that's interesting.
But I wanted them. But I mean, I'll take Detective Pikachu too. I'm definitely not
Right.
complaining. The DLC looks good for Scarlet and Violet. That I'll be excited to go back to that. And then I have like a myriad other games to fill my time. I actually have to tell you something. I delved super deep into Final Fantasy 16 and
How was
dude, like the trailer doesn't even do it justice. You can play the 2-hour demo on PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
and I immediately went to go pay off my pre-order the second I finished that demo. It was
Wow.
so fucking good.
That's
The combat
amazing.
is so fluid, and the story is fantastic. Like, oh my god, dude! And yes, I remember the word primals again. Thank you to all of my Final Fantasy friends who have been fucking with me and
Oh
forgetting
my
the word
god.
primals and icons. I was excited because I got to fight Ifrit, and it was super super fucking cool. And oh, dude, no, so good. Like that game, I thought Diablo was good. Oh fuck no, dude! 16 is like going for my game of the year already.
Damn. I heard also then like the progress actually transfer over from the trial version to the full game once it gets released.
Yep. 100%. You finish that 2-hour
That's actually
demo
really
and
good.
you can just continue off where you were.
Right?
And I think I have such a love for it because I'm a huge Final Fantasy 14 nerd, which is the
Yeah.
MMO RPG of Final Fantasy. And it is 16 is created by the same director that did Final Fantasy 14,
Yeah.
Yoshi P. We stand
Oh
that name.
yeah. Yes, of course.
And the
remember.
soundtrack is done by the same individual who does all the soundtracks for Final Fantasy 14, which is Soken.
Ooh.
And that dude is a composing genius, dude. Like, oh, the soundtrack alone fucking slaps.
Jeez.
My God, I wish that game wasn't just locked to
There-
PlayStation.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But I mean, I understand. Like, it is what it is, which is weird though,
Yeah.
because like Final Fantasy has this weird relationship with Sony, where some games are like PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
But then you get games like 15, which is on all consoles.
Yeah, I was about to say,
You-
isn't like there's like
you
couple
get-
games.
14 that is locked to PC and PS4 and
Yeah.
PS5. But 13 came out on all systems. I don't understand why the fuck you need to keep doing this. And actually, this was discussed in another topic we can talk about. Was Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox. We've actually
Yeah.
met this individual before at FanFest
course,
last
yeah.
year.
That was pretty cool.
He disclosed all of the shady dealings that PlayStation does
Oh,
in
really?
order to fuck over Xbox. He talked about this to the FTC as they were interviewing him about the Activision acquisition.
That's right. I forgot because right now they're doing meetings and like investigation and everything to see if they can approve the approve the deal going between them. But also then the fact that like, did you also hear about like PlayStation saying that if they get the deal, that Sony won't give any information about the PlayStation 6, any details about them, or to any of the Call of Duty developers and everything about any information about the PlayStation 6 because of that merger and everything.
Of
if it
course
gets
not,
approved.
because it's. I mean, like, the hard part about this is like Microsoft needs to go through the American like justice system
Yeah.
and their take on it. But because Sony is Japanese,
Of course.
they don't have to deal with all this horseshit. They could just fuck you over
Yeah.
on whatever they want to.
Which is kind of funny thing too, because like everybody's kind of complaining about like oh, it's a big company trying to like make a monopoly out of it, but yet somehow they don't say the same thing about Sony also taking up all the smaller companies that are also doing the same exact thing. It's just the fact that like this ones are too big like companies and everything too, and yet Sony can get away with like so much more like freaking smaller companies, and that probably even more than what like freaking Activision and Blizzard has basically at this point. At if anything, like remember they taken up was it Bungie? They also taken up what's another company that they taken up recently that was big and everything too? Do you remember?
There's several. Like, well, it was the reason I bring this up in relation to Final Fantasy 16 is because Sony was trying to, and I think is in the process of acquiring Square Enix, which is an
fuck.
easier process because it is a Japanese company.
Yeah.
Which is why Final Fantasy 16 is locked specifically to PlayStation only.
Ah, got it.
It was the same thing that happened, and this is something Phil Spencer talked about in the FTC meetings, was Sony paid off ZeniMax to stop Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo to not be on Xbox at all, which is why they had to acquire Bethesda in the first place in order for
Yeah.
Starfield to even show up on their fucking console.
That's some shady ass fuck, dude. Like, god damn. Like, this is why I like, in my opinion, or at least like ever since like I kind of like started getting into the stupid like at least ecosystem and everything. everything from the start, I've always hated the fucking console wars. I think it's such a stupidest thing ever. It's the most stupidest thing ever that you're locking exclusive behind every single thing. Most of it because, like, as I said before, like, there's games I've been wanting to play on PlayStation, but yet I can't because I have an Xbox and everything too, and because also I'm poor as hell too. But also the fact too that, like, especially in the very early years when freaking Microsoft, like, especially I think it was Minecraft the first one that started, either Minecraft or Fortnite, that started the crossplay stuff and everything too, and the fact that they were trying to get access to the PlayStation servers and everything too, so they can just bridge the gap and everything too. But the fact that it says, oh no, like, they started getting stupid reasons saying that, like, oh yeah, it's bad for the kids, or like, just some stupidest reasons, and yet that it's them that's basically blocking the chance to be able to play games with everybody at this point and everything too, which is kind of just annoying.
It's funny that you bring that up specifically because it's not in my like notes here for what this conversation took on the FTC, but Phil Spencer, and I'm paraphrasing here, Phil Spencer said that they were actually trying to make a PS5 specific version of Minecraft for that audience.
Yeah.
But PlayStation will not send them a development kit at all because Microsoft owns Minecraft.
Oh my god.
They have not received any, and like Microsoft has been like trying to go out of their way to develop games for PS5.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation will not send them a development kit to optimize their games for that system whatsoever.
That's so.
Normally, I like prior to this conversation, I would have like not believed like it was that serious of
like that's scummy
fucking people over. But it's incredible the lengths that Sony has actually gone to. Right. In order to and I'm conflicted because like I love Sony games and Square Enix, like you know me, I'm the world's largest fucking Kingdom Hearts nerd.
Yeah, because if anything, I'm sure that if all of us didn't go on Xboxes, at least for me, like I think you would have been more PlayStation at this point. If anything, you probably would have been on PlayStation over Xbox.
So let's I guess I'll go into my past a little bit. I actually was. My stepdad had an Xbox original, but the fucking dude never let me play it. I could never touch that system whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then he had a 360. Could never touch that system whatsoever because he's like super meticulous about anyone touching his stuff. Like if I moved the remote in his living room like in a different position, he would fucking lose his mind. Man, it has like super like weird issues that I won't discuss. I discuss that with my therapist, not here.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was a Nintendo kid. Weird, obviously, because I had my first system was my first system myself, because I was also like on the poor end of the spectrum growing up.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Was a Game Boy Advance.
Okay, yeah. Always
and then classic. My biological father had a Nintendo Entertainment System. My mom had a Nintendo 64.
Damn.
And then my first system, like console system that was mine, was a Nintendo GameCube.
Okay, got
so
it.
So that's where I fell in like the love for the niche, like, Chibi Robos and Pokemon Coliseum and XD Kill of Darkness. Surprisingly, I never had Smash Bros. Until I was an adult, but...
Really?
That was just weird. Well, and the other thing is like...
Wait, have you ever played Melee then?
Nope, never.
No, are you serious?
My first Smash Bros. was Brawl.
Wow! Oh, wow! That's actually very interesting.
Well, so and the other thing too is like I had a GameCube like in my apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
But none of my friends ever came over to play video games, not because like I was a fucking loser, but because we like the way we spent time growing up in my apartment complex is we would just ride our bikes everywhere we went, and we would go like outside and go play baseball, or we'd go catch crawdads by the ditch. Or we'd go just like do outdoorsy, like weirder shit.
So basically, kind of like just kids things, basically, when you go outside.
Yeah, one of my neighbors, Johnny, he was a cool kid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was handicapped. And he passed away several like years ago, like probably when I was in high school. But he had a DS, so him and I would like go play Pokemon on our DSs at the time. So like that was like the little like tidbit I got sprinkled of multiplayer. I had no idea what I was doing until I hit middle school and high school when we moved to the west side.
Yeah, of course.
So growing up, I then had a GameCube, and then after that, I got a PS2, which was that kicked off my gaming addiction, I would say, because that's where I found like Kingdom Hearts in like the bargain bin at GameStop for like $10.
Damn,
like the Ed, Edd n Eddy Misadventures games I got, the Kids Next Door games I got, and then I fucking fell in love with Guitar Hero, and that's how I become a metalhead.
Yeah.
And found like Avenged Sevenfold and everything else, and then I got into Guitar Hero. So from PS2, then we moved. The only system I took to my mom's house when we moved was my GameCube, and my PS2 stayed at my grandma's house where we used to live, so I never actually took that with me.
Yeah.
So then, just being a GameCube kid again, eventually I got a PS3 and a Wii.
Okay, yeah.
But I wasn't very social, like, outside of middle school. I had just moved to a new school.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't really have, like, a friend group outside of school, just like the people I knew.
Yeah, basically.
So I made all of my friends on my PlayStation, which was, like, the Burnout Paradise speedrunning community, which that's where I started learning how to speedrun and hack and, like, glitch my way through Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, but you still have some records on there, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, PS3 servers, I still have, like, several number ones in most of the speedruns for online multiplayer.
Yeah, because I remember you showing me some of those and everything, and it still astonished me to this day that you still have some that's still active on there.
Oh, yeah. So that's where, like, my PS3 came in. It was it introduced me to the multiplayer stage through middle school. And then we obviously didn't have multiplayer, but, like, I was still a huge Nintendo kid, so, like, I then got Brawl. And then at that point, my stepdad hadn't played his Xbox original for so long because he finally got a 360.
Yeah.
That I was able to actually play that, and then my friends would come over to my house and play Halo 2.
Oh, yeah.
And then that was my, like, super introduction to, like, Xbox gaming.
Like, full on, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. So then, after that, I hit high school.
Yeah.
And then all of my friends had Xbox 360s. Like, Draper had an Xbox 360. Parker had an Xbox 360. Everyone in my small little friend group kept having a 360 and telling me, hey, Josh, you gotta get 360. And then I bit the bullet. And then after that, oh, shit. Multiplayer gaming with the fucking people I know? What is sleep? I'm staying up until 6 o'clock in the morning playing the same Halo Wars game for 8 fucking hours because Draper and I are at a stalemate. Like... Oh, we're playing zombies all night because Black Ops 2's up? Like, oh shit, Modern Warfare 3 just came up? No, dude. That was the cataclysm. So growing up, I was strictly a Nintendo and Sony household. I dropped off of, and that actually was what shifted me into Xbox gaming, was because like my PS3 friends were only the Burnout Paradise speedrunners.
Yeah.
But because like they didn't like that's when Need for Speed started getting kind of shitty because they got picked up by a different publishing company.
Yeah.
So it like the controls just weren't the same, and it just didn't feel good. I had actually purchased a PS4 to play. I want to say Need for Speed Rivals was the first one that came out for.
That's the one with the white background, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the OG one. I had bought it. I thought the graphics were incredible. Everyone hated it, so then I actually traded in my PlayStation again the next week and like put that towards an Xbox One, which is why I got my Xbox One.
Okay,
and then of course like all of my friends had Xbox One, so then I stayed back on until oh god, I think like Kingdom Hearts Remastered got put out for PS4, and then I bought a PS4 again.
Oh damn, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
all in the middle of like kind of while playing on PC, playing like Sims and fucking RuneScape still to this day. So that's the main reason why I was originally PlayStation, but then like my friends all had Xboxes and not PlayStations, so it was easier to keep up with that generation of console and ecosystem, just because everyone else had it.
Okay, yeah. Ironically, just listening to your like whole gaming history kind of makes mine like a little kind of like basic at this point, man. It's like it feels like really basic from my history.
Well, hit me. Go ahead.
Well, basically, like as like you, I basically kind of like the way how I transitioned was like from Nintendo to kind of PlayStation to Xbox and everything. Mm-hmm. But the way it started was that fact that I still remember the first gaming console I ever gotten, like at least gave it to me, was a Super Nintendo system. And I still remember the first 2 games, which I probably still have it somewhere in my house, probably in my closet right now, if anything, was you would not guess what it would be. I'll give you like two chances of what Super Nintendo games was on there. Or that
I'm not even gonna be able to guess because like I skipped Super Nintendo because I went from NES straight to 64, and like the only 2 games I had on my 64 were A Bug's Life and like I think Lion King.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What
But
were they?
so these are gonna be kind of obscure because I never heard anybody talk about them. The first one was like kind of like a mini games kind of thing, but it was a Timon and Pumbaa based game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and the second one was about you remember like the old school like Disney shows and everything, like
Mm-hmm.
like all them stuff. So so you remember the show Goof Troop, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they made a game about that and everything.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so the basic premise of that game was that like Max and Goofy were actually like fishing and everything, and then they get like they get trapped by or they get taken to island which was had pirates on it and everything too as well. And it's actually pretty good like adventure game, especially for kids. And it was fucking hard too as well. Soundtrack was so good on that. I'll admit that. Like I'll one of these days I need to show you one of the soundtracks, especially one of my favorite soundtracks on there. It's so good and everything. But yeah, after that, the Super Nintendo, I started getting more and more of the games and everything. So, because that's where I managed to first play the first Super Mario game, which was a Super Mario World on there. I first learned about the Super Nintendo Super Scope, which was like the bazooka looking thing, which I never got, which I love to try and get, but
I don't even
never
know
got.
what that is. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up while you keep going.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing because there's two games on there I wanted to play, which I have I ROMs. I think I want to say I have it somewhere, but I want to show it to you. But I have that.
What the fuck? This is so cool.
Yeah, dude, it's like a freaking cool thing, and the fact that like there's actual two games on there. That there's a game that comes on there with the Super Scope, but there's three games. There's another game that has two games in the series, which is called the first game was called Battle Clash, and basically it's such a basic So I want you to look like whenever you get the chance, look up Battle Clash, and then the second one's called Metal Combat Falcon's Revenge. Both of them are really cool, but goddamn, when I tried playing the ROM version of it, dude, they're so fucking hard. Like it's pretty hard and everything. Yeah, and then that also the Super Nintendo was when I first encountered my first fighting game, which is Killer Instinct, which I still love to this day and everything too as well. Which I ironically too, growing up, I wasn't until I think I got into a bowling or an arcade center over in Big Bear Mountain and everything too, where they had an arcade system when I was like or arcade place and everything too. That I found out that they actually had an actual arcade system. I didn't know that there was a SNES was an actual port of an arcade version of it, which is why which is why like you see it on the current X or the was it the it's bundled with the season 1 pass of Killer Instinct 2013 version of it.
It's funny that you mentioned like your start to like gaming were these like weird niche games.
Yeah.
Because the games I had for my Nintendo Entertainment System were also niche.
Really?
Like I had like obviously like the original Mario Brothers, but the only other games I had were bargain bin games.
Oh yeah, the one that.
So my three favorite games and the only games I remember playing on it were Top Gun.
Oh wow.
Wheel of Fortune, which when you're trying to answer Wheel of Fortune questions from like 1989, it's a little difficult.
I'm sure, yeah.
And then my favorite game of all time, still to this day, is Kid Nicky. Not Kid Icarus, Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja. It's such a fun little game. Just going around and fucking like people up. Like that was my shit. Yeah. I would play hours and hours and hours. I was never good at it. But I would play hours and hours and hours of just Kid Nicky. Like that was my shit back then.
Wow, I never heard of that one before at all. That's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. Wow. But yeah, like after ironically, like I still remember too, like I don't remember what came first, but I know it's either between the Game Boy or like the Game Boy Advance or the GameCube I got, because we'll say the Game Boy Advance I think I got first. So I got that one, and you remember the purple like wide boy Game Boy Advance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the one I had, and I think I want to say we also had a silver one too as well.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember. So we had that, and there was like so many games. Like I still remember. I think the first game I had on there was like a like it's a pretty cool game, like a Mickey's and Minnie Magical Adventure and everything too.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, that was such a good game that I actually do want to get it and play it again too. Also, then I still remember playing like Warrior Land 4 as well as like also then getting into my favorite like which I do. I'm glad that they finally got a collection release was the Mega Man Battle Network collection. because my first official Mega Man game was the Battle Network 4 Blue Moon, and that was the game I played the most and everything. And I'm surprised I still remember most of the stuff I played from that time and everything too.
I remember the day I got gifted my Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Because it was bundled with Mario Kart Advance, which was
nice.
my absolute shit. And I also got the Monsters Inc. video, like the movie video game.
Oh, wow.
And that game is actually super freaking fun on
Is it really?
Game Boy Advance. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, wow.
It's still a great game.
That's one funny thing. Like, there's another racer I actually got that wasn't Mario Kart on the Game Boy Advance. It's an intellectual property of a famous movie. That came out. Yeah. So this it's the stupidest thing ever. It's a Shrek Racer.
Fuck yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's weird 'cause, again, like niche games.
Yeah.
I had Eminem's Party, which was essentially Mario Party, but with all of the Eminem's characters.
Yeah.
And all of those mini games were, I think, it was better than Mario Party. I will absolutely admit that to the day I die. And then some of my other favorites were I was showing Brooklyn this anime because
oh my god.
I had to explain, I was singing along to the song. She's like, "What the fuck are you singing?" And it was Hamtaro, because my favorite game of all time on my Game Boy Advance, aside from Pokemon games, was Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak, because it was just so much fun.
Dude, I forgot about Hamtaro. I still remember when it used. It's a funny thing too, because even if you ever get the chance, you got to look up the TV spots for Hamtaro on Toonami. Because even the narrator was like, Hamtaro? Just so confused why Hamtaro was on Toonami.
Watch this weird little hamster anime.
Yeah. It's just funny thing, too, because I actually did watch Hamtaro on Toonami. I actually enjoyed that too.
I watched the show. I was so invested. I used to... Oh, wow, this just brought up repressed memories. I used to have a stuffed Hamtaro.
Really?
I used to have a tiny little Hamtaro plushie. Damn it! I wonder if that's still somewhere. I need to go look for that.
I bet you it probably is, unless you get unlucky at that point.
No, I think my grandma might have it somewhere, because my grandma kept a lot of my childhood stuff, since that was the house I grew up in.
Of course.
So I wonder if I still have my tiny Hamtaro, I'm gonna flip the fuck out.
That'd be amazing, right? But yeah, freaking all the stuff I fucking got from the Game Boy. I still remember, because I remember I used to have a stack of games, and I constantly trade it in to GameStop and everything to get new stuff and everything too as well.
Yeah.
And then I still remember too, I got it for Christmas one year. I got the GameCube and everything. It was a silver GameCube, and I still remember, because I used to play the GameCube at my parents' friend's house and everything too. They actually had the GameCube, and they actually got me my own GameCube. So I used to play and also this is where my weird quirk of playing with inverted controls came from. Which was playing, I play inverted controls. Sue me and everything.
Yeah, he's a demon.
Yeah, but freaking the only reason why, because I played Top Gun, was it Advanced Combat, or it was Top Gun Combat Zone.
We had these weird Nintendo versions of Top Gun. You and I both. It's funny. I never knew this.
Right? It's such a good game, and even the soundtrack on it was actually pretty cool too. But
Top Gun was inverted on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now I think about it too.
Oh wow, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's the reason why I play inverted. I also played Medal of Honor. I played both Medal of Honor Frontlines as well as Medal of Honor Rising Sun. And what's crazy too, that Medal of Honor, with the Medal of Honor Frontlines, that's probably the game with the longest history of me of actually ever starting to play it to when I actually finished the game, which is over 10 years at this point. Because there's one specific part in fucking Frontlines, when you get to a point, as a kid, I never could have beaten it. It wasn't until I got the PlayStation 2, or I had my PlayStation 2 when I got it before I left California and everything. I bought Frontlines on it again, and I finally managed to play through that whole game, and I managed to beat that game, everything, back in 20, I would say either 2013 or 2012, if anything, 2011 maybe. But that was probably the one game that I had the longest time of actually completing fully at one point, from story mode and everything too. And crazy thing too, that the other game, Rising Sun, that one was also a two disc game too, because of how small the memory was for GameCube games and everything too. So literally, you play the game, which is funny thing too, and you play most part of the campaign on it. And then like I think that maybe the last 2 missions on the game was actually on the second disc that you literally had to pop in or switch it out and everything too as well.
So something that surprised me recently for double discs
What?
was they just announced that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out.
Yeah.
On PS5, and it's 2 fucking discs. That means that game is like over 200 gigs.
Yeah, dude, and those are all
and that's wild to me. I remember when Skyrim came out. Skyrim was like a double disc for Xbox 360, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is this? I have to insert a second disc."
Or like freaking Dead Space 2 and everything too. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I remember Dead Space.
Right, that's freaking crazy. But yeah, like there's a lot of like freaking GameCube games. Like I still have some GameCube games, like not a lot, but it's still some. Like I still remember, like also like I was kind of like big in NASCAR for that year, and as well as the Madden too as well, because like I think Madden 2005, which is such a great soundtrack on it, and yeah, and then NASCAR 2005 as well. No, it was Madden. It was one of the years. I mean.
So this is also weird because this is like weird parallels between you and me.
Yeah.
On my PS2, I had NASCAR 2004 and I had Madden 2004. And I would play. I used to play NASCAR with my grandpa. Fucking why not? My grandpa actually used to play Pokemon with me.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
He would play Ruby and I'd play Sapphire, and I would trade like any of the extra Pokemon I needed. But him and I used to play video games all the time. He had his own Game Boy Advance SP, and then him and I would both play, and it was just fun memories.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy though. God damn. But yeah, freaking yeah, like because also the reason why I really enjoy those games because freaking this is the stupidest part that like me and my brother usually will like we usually do one-on-one races, but we end up like actually like doing stupid things. Like one of us will actually like go around and run across the other way of the other track. So literally we flying against each other, and we try to actually hit each other at this point because there is actual like collisions, and you can actually like damage your cars and everything too. And like you literally like we just did that and everything too, and also I made some of my cars there too as well. And but yeah, like other than that, I played Madden of course with the Oakland Raiders as usually back when they were Oakland. And there's some other games that I've kind of been on and off and everything too, but like not really coming up. But yeah, like that was mostly the major ones until I think my mom, when she was working at Edison, like I guess like one of the employee perks and everything that she had, that she could accumulate points and everything too as well. Or I think it was like back from, actually no, it was a Verizon points and everything too. So she managed to get the like bought me and my brother Nintendo DS's, like the first DS Lites and everything too.
I had those, yeah. Mine came with the Mario 64 remake.
Yeah, so I had that, and then pretty much like I had it for a while. I was not a good taker of that because I accidentally went and destroyed it.
Oh no, I had, growing up I had every iteration of the DS. Anytime a new version came out, I had the new version. Like the DS Lite came out, and then the DSi came out, and then the DSi XL came out, and then the 3DS came out, and then the 3DS XL, and then the new Nintendo 3D. Like I had every single version growing up. It was so nice.
I bet, man. But yeah, like I still remember a couple of games I had on there, which was there was a Godzilla game that was on there that both me and my brother played. There was also, I remember I got ironically there was actual remake of Mega Man Battle Network 5, and it was like basically a combination pack of both packed in with Team Colonel and Team Proto Man. And what's cool too that this one was actually fully voice acted too as well. And they also added like little like updates and everything too. Like they even add like facial, like different facial animations during like certain parts of the game and everything too as well. And there's another one that I still have yet to beat because it's the fucking hardest thing ever, which was Card Fighter DS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was basically, or it was the official title. It was like a Capcom and SNK card fighter game that like you had to try to like beat and everything too. Which I want to try to beat it one of these days, or at least need to find the ROM file for it, because I was stuck at one specific point and I still cannot get past it for some reason.
It's funny because like a lot of the games I had growing up, I played the shit out of. I never beat any of them. Like again, I didn't even beat Kingdom Hearts until I was 20.
Damn.
I think I made it. I may have actually beat the Kids Next Door game.
Yeah.
I definitely beat all the Pokemon games, but like I never beat the original Mario Bros. I never beat Kid Nicky. Oh God, don't even get me started on freaking DS games because like I had all the Pokemon games I did, but I had Beautiful Joe, which was sick, which was based off the TV show that aired on
Oh,
WB
Beautiful
Kids.
Joe was such a good game. I forgot. That's another game I
Never
had
beat
on
it.
there.
I had The
Oh,
World Ends With You. Never
yeah.
beat it. I
Wow.
had one of my favorite games and one of the best soundtracks is Tony Hawk's American Skateland.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's funny because I used to take my DS to school, but I didn't have like my CD player wasn't broken at the time, and I didn't
Yeah.
have like an MP3 player. So
Yeah.
I used to take my DS just to listen to Green Day on the American Skateland
Oh,
soundtrack,
that's actually
just so
really
I could bump
cool.
it.
Yeah.
But never beat it. I have such a long gaming history without victories, so maybe
Jeez.
I need to take the time and go back and do so.
Right? Jeez, man. It's a funny thing too, because bringing up some of the games and everything, like also I did remember I had on the GameCube, I actually had, or let me update the Game Boy Advance games list I had, which also I had the Mega Man Battle Network 3 Blue, Battle Network Team Colonel, Battle Network 6, both Cyber Beast and Gregar, because it was actually being sold at the LA County Fair at a game shop and everything too. And on the GameCube, I remember that I also had the Misadventures and everything too as well,
Yeah.
and as well as I had Melee as well, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. That was the one I was almost forgetting about, which it had freaking like that also got me into like a little bit more into Classic Rock and everything too as well, like with ACDC and everything.
Oh yeah, I had eventually at some point. I think I got. I want to say it was Tony Hawk's Underground 2.
Yeah.
A lot of my soundtrack and like music tastes came from not only Rock Band, but like all of the Need for Speed games up to Most Wanted.
Jeez.
The remake
Yeah.
Most Wanted, like that
Oh
was
wow. Okay. Yeah.
my introduction to like rock music and EDM and everything I currently love.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Mm.
I reckon I had a Need for Speed game on the GameCube too as well. I just don't remember what title it was, if anything.
I had the
But
original Most Wanted on my. I want to say it was my GameCube. It might have been my PS2. I don't remember.
that's interesting. But yeah, like other than that, like I ironically like my first introduction to an Xbox was at my cousin's house, and basically like it was like two like basically like I seen the Halo and the Halo 2, but I kind of was never able to. I kind of played a little bit of it, but like never really got to and everything since it was their consoles and everything. But other than that, like that was kind of like the first introduction to the Xbox ecosystem I had been. And then after that, kind of like I think, as I said, like before I left California and everything, I think I want to say either in 2009 or 2000. I want to say either in 2009 or 2008, I finally got my own first PlayStation. But also, and this
Mhm.
wasn't the new PlayStation, like the slimmer PlayStation. This was a big boy and everything too as
The
well.
thick one.
Yeah, the thickums and everything too. So, but yeah, I got like I've been wanting to play some PlayStation games and everything too as a kid, but we never really gotten a chance to like get it at all. So that was my first thing. But even then, like I kind of never really much played it at all either because I didn't have any games to buy or to play on it too as well. And even then, like that PlayStation couldn't really play any of the blue disc underneath the blue disc games and everything too.
Mhm.
Like it never would have able to play it because I've tried to play like, at least some games that were blue disc but never got on there. And this is like I never got to that and everything too. Also, I just remember another game I forgot that I played a lot on the Game Boy was a Monster Jam like Maximum Destruction game and everything too.
Hell yeah. I had
Yeah.
like again. I had such weird games. I had like the Finding Nemo game. I had Spy Hunter, which was sick.
Oh yeah.
What other like weird Game Boy Advance games? I had so many. I had like the Namco like remakes of like Mappy and Pac-Man and
Oh, those are
Galaga
good
and all
ones.
that fun
Yeah.
stuff. There were just so many good, so many good like weird. Again,
Yeah.
like I couldn't afford the expensive like $40-$50 titles, except
course,
for like
yeah.
Pokemon. I would save like every penny I had for.
Yeah.
So like I was always like, oh, there's like a $10 game here. I'm just gonna snag this real quick. Oh, it's like a $5 game. I'm gonna like pop this off the shelf real quick.
Yeah.
Except for Pokemon's, I was always there for Pokemon's when they came out.
Yeah, of course. Which is funny thing too, because I never actually played Mappy on the official systems. So I'm sure you probably remember like back in the day. I know they probably still selling, but like you remember like those weird like off-brand like games that said like there's like almost like 100 games and everything in there.
Yeah, you just plug them into your TV.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because I was also, of course,
That's how I
kid.
played Mappy originally. Actually,
Yeah.
was the cheap, like, they used to have these things back in our day where you just like, it would just be a controller with a box at the bottom of it that would plug into your audio video cables into your TV.
Yeah.
And then you could play like a Namco remake games all the time, which is how I discovered. I forgot what racing game was on it, but like the knob on the joystick would rotate, and that's how you steered your fucking car.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then that's how I played Mappy originally too. Was like I had an actual like joystick that would do it. They always sold for like $20-$30. They were super cheap.
Yeah, they were basically just like ROM, like almost like basically like ROM hacks into a freaking thing, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that's because ironically that was also the very first time I ever played Contra too, as well. Like with those things, yeah. Because also then I had the one that was like that had like a second controller port onto it, like on the main like controller itself, so you could literally plug in the second controller and then you can both play like 2-player games, or if not, there was like a shooting game on there too that you can plug in and shoot with the gun and everything too, was on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I forgot about that too. It was like fuck, because I remember like because back then we I used to go with me, my grandma and my brother. We used to sometimes go to swap meets and stuff too, like at a different area, and actually just walk around and kind of like look at stuff and everything. And that's where I usually would see some of the games and some of the random stuff that was on there too as well. But yeah, like I still remember that. And there's that period of time where like I kind of amazingly played like GameCube, kind of like PlayStation, like or whatever games I had, like Game Boy and everything too that I had. It wasn't until like I think I specifically met you, like after we started, like literally ironically after I met you and over at which we need to get a story on that on our own, like whenever we have the chance, was how we both met and everything too, over at Motion and everything. But like it was like after the year, like after we met each other, and then we somehow surprised that over a year that we didn't know how close we lived to each other, and that's the stupidest thing ever. But yeah, the fact that like when I started hanging out at your place and everything, when I actually saw the Xbox 360 games, and like that's when I fully started like playing together with you and everything too as well. And I was also late in the generation like too as well for getting the 360 and everything too, because my first Xbox console was the Halo 4 edition of the 360 and everything.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, and you remember it too, because ironically too, like my mom literally just showed, like kind of like came home and says, "Hey, look what I got you in the trunk." Literally opened up the trunk and it was a Halo 4 edition of the 360 and everything too.
Which then like came over to my house and then we fucking beat the campaign on Legendary.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't know how we managed to beat that on that day.
I know.
Which funny thing too, because like at the time too, like we saw because I don't know if you ever finished any Legendary scenes on there before, have you?
No, I never went out of my way to do so.
Yeah, because also then like there was like because every Halo Legendary Edition, like there's a regular ending and everything too, but every time you beat Halo on the Legendary Edition, there is an extra scene that they give in there. And for Halo 5 or Halo 4 version of it, you literally they just give you a close shot of Master Chief's like freaking eyes alone and everything too. And
yeah, you never see Chief like outside of a helmet, and you actually see John's eyes, which was like,
and the face.
Holy shit!
Yeah, dude, we were like freaking out from that. We were like, oh my god, that's crazy too. But yeah, like after that, basically that's when I invested like into like freaking mostly into the Xbox and everything too as well. Like that's basically like where I met everybody from you to Nick to Draper, freaking Parker, freaking Kang and everything too as well. When I started playing more of that, and then I was also a little maybe a year or two late to the Xbox One era too as well. And then that's kind of when I fucked up my credit a little bit, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, But yeah, like my first Xbox One console was the shit show of Assassin's Creed. You, I'm sure you probably remember which one it is.
Oh, you're talking about Unity, aren't you?
Yes, yes, that one.
I remember that. That was Unity was an online Assassin's Creed game that you could play with 4 people, and it was.
It was so.
Oh god, it was just dog shit. It was so bad.
It was so like if you ever get the chance, you gotta look up the Unity.
There are like several games like embedded in history that are just dog shit. Assassin's Creed Unity and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 are the instant games I think of when they're so bad.
like they never cover at all. Like I think I still have it on my freaking like games list of I can actually install and everything too.
Mhm.
But yeah, like that one was surprisingly like, oh my, I forgot about that too. But yeah, freaking like but yeah, that's where I really started like getting into that. Like literally all the consoles I got from now on was mainly Xbox because it was playing from you guys and everything too as well. And like
Yeah,
I
I
had
think
yeah.
that's also like where I dropped off of like PlayStation 3 games because I like, why the fuck was I gonna get a PlayStation 3 game when I can get the same game on Xbox and talk to my friends about it at the same time?
Right, at least if anything. Which funny thing too, because I never actually been online gaming until I actually met you guys and actually started playing online and everything too as well.
Well, see, I had so PlayStation 3 had introduced me to online gaming because at the time there wasn't a subscription service for online gaming through PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
You had to get Xbox Live for Xbox, but for PlayStation, the games had free online services for several years of the PlayStation 3's lifetime prior
yeah,
to PlayStation Plus releasing.
yeah. I remember
So
that.
a lot of the times I didn't have to because I could just play it. But like even then, like my first PlayStation 3 games were like Skyrim. Skyrim has a very fond place in my heart because I got it for my 17th birthday,
Oh yeah.
and my girlfriend broke up with me on my birthday.
Oh, that's
But
heartbreaking.
it was the start of winter vacation because my birthday is December 18th.
Yeah.
And for 2 weeks, I didn't give a fuck about her because I had Skyrim, and I completely invested all of my time into Skyrim.
Yeah.
And then when we went back to school, we got back together like 2 weeks after like school had
Oh
started
my
again.
god, I did not
So
know
like
that.
it was like nothing happened. But yeah, no, fuck, I was fucking stoked, dude. Like you're telling me I can invest all of my time into this fantasy world that's beautiful and gorgeous? Fuck that bitch.
Oh my lord, Jesus Christ, dude! My god damn.
It's so good.
Oh,
So
God.
happy.
Yeah, it's funny thing too, because it's like as I said, like I still remember like key funny moments, like because like as like with you too, like I never really like hang out with like kids my age or like I was mostly a shut in and everything too, so that kind of like there's like I'll tell it maybe in the future podcast or even the next one about like the stuff I did while growing up because I never like really like hang out with anybody and everything too, like because ironically the first time I ever had like a friend over was in middle school. And I think that
Mm.
was back in 8th grade and everything too. Like I maybe hanging out with my friend and everything, like like maybe back in like 5th grade and everything too. Like went to their place, but even then, like I'd even like hang out at their place too. I was like because he lived right in front of the elementary school and everything too.
Mm.
But yeah, like the very first time I ever actually had a friend, which was like I'm sure you probably like you remember him, which we haven't talked to him in a long time, was Randy.
Talking about Randy, yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
yeah, like he was my first friend I had over and everything too as well. So, but yeah, like freaking like other than that, basically like I kind of was mostly like a sheltered kid and everything too as well. And it wasn't until I started hanging out with you and everything too that like I felt like it was so much more fun and everything too, because I still remember specific like times that we had fun, which is the fuck you on Dead Space 2 when I first played it together, asshole. Because like there's a specific moment like also in that point that JR came in too as well, like when you guys turn off everything from the
He'd
lights
be
in
sitting
it.
at the desk in my living room, and then him, like JR, and I would creep up the stairs and like grab Seph's leg to scare the shit out of him.
It was literally you and Draper and JR at that point, man.
Mhm. Well,
And
because
then
we had already done our time, we knew the pain.
yeah, you guys knew the pain and everything. I was like you guys have never seen me scared shitless before, like other than that time,
those were
like
great times.
right? And then I still remember also the fact that when we tried to do the 20 or the weekend gaming night too as well, where I brought my Xbox and recording system too at that time as
Mhm.
well. And
Remember when I pulled my back?
yes, that's when you pulled your back and
I
everything.
don't know what happened that night, but we were like, they were playing Halo like downstairs because I think my parents were gone for a weekend or something.
Yeah.
And like I don't know what happened, but I was walking and all of a sudden I pulled this muscle on my back and I was screaming in pain and I couldn't move for like
Did you have like
an
sex
hour
there?
straight. It was no, I don't know, but no, was that does
I
that
know
timeline reline up with that?
I want to. I don't know. I just remember that like you said you pulled your back and then like you never could have gotten up from the ground and everything too as well. Because I still remember vividly. We had the black table right in front of us. We had the TV. We had the freaking PC. We had the freaking Xbox. I still remember
Oh,
you
God.
laying on the fucking ground next to us, like right where your like your walkway is from the front door and everything too. Like literally laying on your back, just saying like I can't get up, my fucking back is hurting. Like
yeah,
like literally.
I was struggling.
Right, which is funny thing too, because like as I said before, I need to like invest into a hard drive recovery system, because I have the recording of like you screaming, getting up and everything on that hard drive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I wanted one of these days, right? Whenever I get enough extra money, I want to do a hard drive recovery on that thing. But I still remember that and everything too when you did that. And the funniest, other funniest part too, I think this one was like after that time and everything too, was when Draper came by, and was it like we as I said, we thought it was gonna be like boys only and everything, and then that's when those girls came over and everything too, and you started focusing on them too as well.
I don't. Okay, like that's one. I'm not gonna deny that. That sounds like a younger version of me that would have done that, but I don't recall this whatsoever.
Oh, I still remember, and you could even ask Draper too. Like you kind of
girls came by.
Yeah, like 3 girls came by to kind of like hang out and everything, and you were focusing more on them, while me and Draper were kind of like playing Halo and everything too.
Was it? Oh, maybe it was like my neighbors that like lived nearby was like Serena and Aaron or something. I think I kind of remember this.
Yeah, but I remember too because it's on. I'll put the video in the link. It was such like a funniest part because that was when me and Draper were just dying laughing, and literally we were just making stupidest voices. And this was when also then when you got the knife and you literally came into rooms and you literally can hear you say like, all right, where do you want it? Where do you fucking want it? And everything. And then that's when Draper says, right down the middle, like in the fucking Mickey Mouse voice and everything too.
Oh god,
yeah,
that sounds. We did some real dumb shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that was when, yeah, dude, like that was the funniest, like that. Actually, let me see how old that video is, because that video is such an old like video that I still remember it being on my channel and everything too as well. Like it's stupid old. Like
scary how much blackmail you possibly have against me, and you could probably lock me away for life.
Dude, I have much more blackmail on me that I'd be fucked if like everybody started just going through that at that point. So yeah, it was 9 years ago when I uploaded that video.
Jesus.
Which is funny thing too, because like the video before the video after that was our 3-way battle when we had on I think actually no, that was another weekend we had, because I watched that the 3-way battle again, which was part 1 and part 2. The funniest part was too that like we actually, because you remember how the Elgato was back then, like it had that delay between the main screen and the recording screen. Yeah. There's a specific part where like we did something crazy and then we literally paused the game, and in the video I literally commented saying like, oh, this is where we paused the game to look at the instant replay, which was on the which was at the part where like, because there was a couple seconds delay on the recording, so we all looked at that thing and amazed by it. But it's funny too because I think it was in part 2 where we were so loud that even your mom told us to be quiet and everything too as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, dude, like yeah, that was I'll admit though, like just meeting you guys was funnest thing ever. If anything, like just able to like just have fun and everything too.
And to think, my friend, we're going on 10 years plus of friendship.
Basically, right? Like, who knows? Who would have known that this camaraderie would have gone this far at this point?
Well, my friend, I look forward to another decade of hijinks and weird fuck shit adventures that we go on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 6 of the Skillless Podcast. Be sure to check us out on all of our socials at _Team No Skill on Twitter and Insta, and at Team No Skill on YouTube's. Seph, do you have anything else?
Thank you for listening on to this podcast. I'll definitely be looking into more accessible ways of the podcast and everything too, like by actually like adding subtitles onto the podcast itself if you're watching on YouTube as well, and as well as maybe giving it a little bit more context or like maybe pictures and everything whenever I do have free time as well. And also for this podcast, sorry for kind of like jumping in and around and everything. It's maybe a little bit disorganized too from it and everything too. But yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully you catch us up on the next podcast.
See ya.
I'm not into it. I'm not.